Okay, so before I get too far into this one, I don't want to take time to solve a triangle if there's no triangles. And if there's two triangles and I don't realize there's two triangles, I'm just going to get one set of answers and move on and miss a bunch of stuff. So what has to go through my brain is what we have written on the flow chart. Side-side angle. The angle given to me is acute, so this is the most complicated case. If A is greater than or equal to B, you get one triangle, so check that first. And then if it's not, you have to compare A to H. So if it was greater, equal, or less, we got three different things. So again, side-side angle, the angle given to me is acute. Check for this first. If it's not the case, that's when you compared A to H. So we spent a lot of time last class looking at that, but that's the only time you ever do this. So hopefully you understand why these rules work, but I guess at the end of the day, you at least need to have them memorized. If A is less than H, it wasn't long enough to connect. If A was equal to H, it perfectly connected, so one triangle, and if A was greater than H, you get two triangles. Okay, so A compared to H, and H is always B times the sine of A. H is 10.8. So it looks like the swinging side is longer than the height. So this is when it could swing out to make a triangle or swing in to make a triangle. Two triangles. That's significant for us because there's one set of answers, but there's also a second possibility that has that for angle A, that for side A, and that for side B. And again, if you don't think about those things ahead of time, then you have no idea to even look for a second set of answers. So I take these numbers and maybe I find angle B. I plug in what's given to me and I solve for angle B. So inverse sine 12.8 sine of 58 over 11.4. I'm not going to show all those steps now because we practice that in the other part of the work. That's 72.212. Okay, and I'm just going to finish this first triangle first, and then we'll talk about how to deal with this other stuff. Okay, now that I've got two angles of my triangle, I could subtract those from 180 to find the last angle. So angle C has to be 49.788 approximately. I'm storing that in my calculator to keep it exact though. And then to find side C, I guess technically you can use law of cosines if you want to, but since you're not going to be provided that formula in this quiz, I don't know why you would. Just use law of sines again. Length C over sine of angle C is equal to A over sine of A or B over the sine of A. Take your pick. I'm going to just do A's, since those were given to me in the problem. So in my calculator, side C is going to be 11.4 times the sine of angle C, which I have stored in my calculator so it's not rounded, divided by the sine of 58, and C is 10.266. So I think I'm done with the first half, but since I've done all that work, I should make sure biggest angle, opposite biggest side, checks, smallest angle, opposite smallest side, checks. Help me catch my mistakes like typing the wrong button in the calculator. All right, well, what about the second possibility? Because based on these numbers in our flow chart, we know there should be a second triangle that has that angle A, that side A, and that side B. And for my last class, this is something that they didn't know or they didn't remember it. So you probably also need to highlight it like they did. from here to here, the law of sines is only smart enough to give you one angle B. It doesn't realize there's a second angle B, and it's not designed in a way to sometimes spit out two numbers. It spits out this one number. It's always going to give you the acute possibility. This one is its supplement. So you need to take 180 minus this to get the other possibility for angle B. 180 minus what the law of sine says for angle B gives you the other possibility. 107.78. That will be on the quiz in one way or another. You will need to know how to find the second angle B. Okay, well now I just finished this one. But since angle B has gotten bigger, that adjusts how big angle C could be and adjusts how big side C could be. So I'm going to finish it the same way. I'm going to say I know 2 of 3 angles of a triangle, subtract them from 180 to find the last one. Store that as angle C in my calculator. And then law of sines one more time. If I want to know the length of C divided by the angle, the sine of angle C, and set it equal to A over sine of A or B over sine of B, your choice. I will do A over the sine of A. 11.4 times the sine of C divided by the sine of 58. Now, I'm also concerned that I may have missed hit a button in the calculator. I'm really bad about that, partly because I'm thinking and talking and doing the math at the same time. But smallest side is definitely C. Smallest angle is definitely C. Good sign. Biggest angle is B. Biggest side is B. That's a good sign too. So since both those things checked out, I probably wouldn't spend more time on this question. Doesn't guarantee that it's right, but it's a good sign.